So we're back in the office with a special guest, Melissa. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for accepting my invitation. I've seen you very active lately in social media. You're a woman that does a little bit of everything. You're
Yes.
event planner,
Mhm.
and you work also for the Miami. Well, not work. You're part of the chairman, right? The board.
For the REC?
Uh-huh.
Well, or for Miami Young Republicans?
Both.
Yes, both. So yes, I am on the board of directors for the Miami Young Republicans, director of operations, and I am also an REC member or committee woman for District 32.
Oh wow! How do you have time to do all this stuff?
That's a great question. I ask myself the same thing every day. No, it's really just a matter of I wake up early, I go to sleep late, and then I just schedule, my days in a certain way, so I give everything a little bit of time.
Because you're an event planner or a wedding planner?
Both. So I do. I have my own business. So
Nice.
Gem Weddings and Events, and so I'm a wedding and event planner. My specialty is weddings, but I also do small events, like bachelorettes or bachelors, bridal showers, baby showers. I do a lot of celebrity events too, like after parties, things like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm currently planning weddings, and
now that wedding season's coming.
Yeah, I have my couples that I'm working with, but I also give everything else some time.
What's like your favorite place to do your weddings?
Of course, the venue that I have.
Because you have your own, or you
yes,
work with.
So I work with a property owner, and we have exclusive access to that property.
Oh, nice.
So it's Gem Mansion in Horse Country. And
oh, yes.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Super nice.
that's where we do most of our weddings. But of course, I mean, I'm a planner, so I go anywhere. Yeah.
Entonces, and then you have a baby.
I do.
So you how do you do it? How does it divide? Because I have my own business now that my daughters are older. I have a 24 and a 21.
Oh my gosh, I would have never thought.
Oh, thank you. You're my new best friend. So I always admire the moms that have young babies. How do you manage to do that? Do you have like guilt like you're taking away from being a mom?
No, I don't have guilt. So it's difficult to explain, right? She's 5 years old now, so it's obviously a little bit easier than when she was a toddler. But even when she was a newborn, I was David Barrero's campaign manager, and I went door knocking with her strapped to my chest, So I think where there's a will, there's a way. You make it happen. You figure it out. Now that she's older, it's definitely easier, and I just take her everywhere with me, and I tell her that she's my assistant, and she loves it, so she takes the responsibility and just goes.
And then now you how long have you been in the politician world?
Since 2020.
Oh wow, you've been in it a long time.
Not that long, but yes, I mean reasonable.
But you got I think the golden years, right?
Yes.
The strong years. What has impacted you to keep on in the political world?
I think having a daughter, believe it or not, having a child and seeing the way that the world is going and the things that are happening, and I think we were in a really bad place prior to this year, and it was scary, right? I think it was a scary world to think of, and so having a 5-year-old daughter where I'm like, what are we leaving these kids behind is motivation, and has definitely helped me to stay connected so that we can continue making positive changes.
Right. Do you think if Trump would have lost, what would happen to the United States?
I would have moved to Canada. No, I'm just kidding. It's even worse.
I know.
I seriously did consider leaving the country, though. No, but I think that if Trump would have lost, it just would have been a lot worse, significantly worse, because the policies that were in place, the way that the administration was being run, Biden was MIA. Who knows? He was just a puppet. Let's call it for what it is.
Yeah.
And whoever was behind the scenes was... I really think that they were trying to run down America, sending our money to foreign countries, sending our military to foreign countries for the wrong reasons. It would have been really bad.
Yeah, for sure. I think about all the time. I'm like, my God, we're so lucky that Trump won, because if not, I don't know what would happen to all of us.
Yeah.
Small business were going down. Everything was super expensive. I think about my daughters, my grandkids in the future, and I was like, oh my God, do we have to leave the United States? But where are we going to go? Everywhere is worse.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to go back to Cuba? That place is worse. Yeah. Now that we have Trump, and now we have elections in the city of Miami, what do you think about them pushing elections to next year?
Personally, I am in disagreement with that.
Me
I
too.
think that we should keep things the way that they're supposed to be, right?
Mhm.
Those rules, those regulations, those laws are in place for a reason. And I personally believe that whoever's trying to bypass those things, they have their own agenda. So I'm not in agreement with it.
Yeah, me too. Is there any candidate that you like so far that you're like kind of like, should I support, not support?
So we actually just had a meeting about this, and we're when is this airing?
In like in 3 weeks.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry, you
That's
can edit that, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, because we just endorsed someone, and I didn't want to say it too in advance.
Yeah.
Okay, so my preference of candidate would be Emilio. I think that he's probably the most reasonable candidate. I don't think he has ulterior motives. I think that he's going to do a better job than the other candidates.
When you support a candidate and they do something that you don't like how do you feel? An example.
Mhm.
For me, I was supporting Ralph Rosado.
Yes.
And his first time being in the board meeting, then he comes out with, changing election day.
Yes.
I felt like I'm never gonna support a candidate again.
I hear you.
I was like so heartbroken. Then I invited him to the podcast, and then his assistant sends me a list of stuff that I could ask, but I can't ask. And I was like, no, I don't want to sit with him. I wanted to ask, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And I was so heartbroken in the sense that I was supporting him. Plus the other candidate I didn't like at all. They don't like cats, and I have a cat.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel when you support, and then at the end they do something that you like? Oh my god.
That's a really difficult question, but I understand it completely because I definitely was supporting Rosado as well, and I was not expecting that. I feel like it came out of left field. Being in the political world, you learn that there's oftentimes a certain path that a candidate or an elected official wants to take, and then something happens behind the scenes that nobody ever finds out about, and it causes them to change, their stance or their platform or their way of thinking. And sometimes it's difficult to process, but I think sometimes we have to take that into consideration and outweigh the good, right?
Right.
Because it could be worse. We could have had a different candidate win, and then they would have done much worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and just
I look at it. This is my positive way, is because there's not a lot of people don't go vote.
Yes.
This happened. It's a lesson for everybody in City of Miami to go out and vote, because they try to remove this from you guys.
Yeah,
it's because you guys don't show up, and it's true.
Absolutely.
They do show up when it's like for ICE and other stuff, but they don't show up for when it's voting.
Yeah.
So I hope this brings like a wake up call, and even if you don't like the candidates, I prefer to put Kanye West than for them to remove that gift that they gave us to go vote, especially as women. We should go vote.
Absolutely. So my personal stance on this, and I worked a lot on this back in 2020 when I was, again, campaign manager for State Rep David Barrero, because I was door knocking and I was doing a lot of grassroots for him.
Mm-hmm.
I would speak to people day in and day out, and I noticed that people are not very educated when it comes to voting. Mm-hmm. People don't know the difference between the primary election and the November election. They don't know what it is to vote locally, what it is to vote. Like, people focus on voting nationally.
Correct.
Because they think that that's what matters.
Correct.
But they don't realize that
the local are most important.
Is what affects you directly the most. So what happens is there's a lack of education, there's a lot of ignorance, lack of knowledge, lack of resources. And so that's something that I personally on my own have been trying to work on and implement through the different organizations that I'm a part of, because I feel like, the older crowd, they're not going to be able to go, first of all, they're not tech savvy, not very tech savvy. Second of all, they're not going to know how to go to a library or a resource center to get information. And the ones that are younger generation, they're not interested. So I feel like we have to be able to find a way to provide people in general with resources. Door knocking is not enough, in my personal opinion. It's extremely important.
Yes.
Because it's what is grassroots. That is why David Barrero won his campaign against all odds, is because of the amount of doors that we knocked on. But I also think that there has to be more resources provided to the people and more education on it. I think that now, with social media being such a big thing, definitely people are becoming more informed, but there has to be more done.
Like what? Like an example.
I feel like one of the things that we do is, for example, I work a lot with Turning Point USA, and what we do is we blast text. Whether they like it or not, if they're a registered Republican, they're going to get a text. Sending out emails, providing them with things maybe in the mail. I know a lot of people throw out junk mail where they don't look at it, but they're, out of 10, maybe 5 will look at it. That's a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Just different ways, trying
Cafecito time. I love this cafecito time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't drink coffee, but I think it's a very important that any campaign, any politician should do it, because it's a time that you can sit one-on-one with your residents.
Absolutely.
And you can talk and bond. And I always tell everybody, like, there's some candidates that do it monthly, and I told them, I don't like you as a candidate, but I do like that you do take your time, that you do cafecito time once a month. And I think it's very important. I tell everybody, what makes a good candidate? Mm-hmm. If you can explain what will make what is a good candidate?
A personable human being that is human like the rest of us, that will show up, like you said, cafecito time, and sit down with the people, with their constituents, answer their questions, shake their hands, spend time with them, just be personable, I think is extremely important. And of course, putting in the work, like I said, door knocking. Door knocking is another way of being personable. Mm-hmm. Every door you knock on, every hand you shake, every smile you exchange, every person that you get to speak to face is more than likely going to be a vote that you gain, because they're getting to know you one-on-one.
So that's the main thing, to knocking doors. And I say knocking doors, and I say social media too.
Yeah.
It's free advertising.
Absolutely.
It's free advertising. I always tell everybody, take advantage. Hire a social media manager.
Yeah.
Once a week, do content. Yeah. And then you have for like a whole month content, and you post it out every Thursday or something like that. Yeah. So now that City of Miami, we know in November is for sure. Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna focus on Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade, already yesterday, Raquel Haralao already announced that she's running. Mm-hmm. Do you want to? Is there a specific politician that you want that person to run, or? Oh, can't talk about it.
Sorry.
It's okay. But is there like a candidate that you want them to see? Like me personally, I would like Gonzalez to run.
Okay.
Gonzalez, I like him. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings with him. I like him. Plus, he represents West Kendall, and I'm from West Kendall. Yeah. But I would like for him to run. I know Rene Garcia is gonna run too. Yeah. Is there any?
It's just difficult because they're all Republican candidates, and so we have to, how do I explain this? Like, we can't support any one candidate, because they're all Republican, and we will help every single one of them, so long as a Democrat doesn't win. Because then we're worse off. So we really don't get involved
until the end to see who drops out.
Until the primaries are.
So if there's, for example, 7 Republicans in Miami-Dade, you guys are gonna support the 7.
Yes.
Even if you don't like so much, or you do, until the end, until they look to see who drops out, who. Yeah. And then at the end, that's when you guys do the endorsement. That's how it works?
Basically, well, that's the way it's supposed to work. That's not the way it always works. Okay. But there are moments, for example, that even if there's, like, let's say 2 or 3 Republican candidates that are running at the same time, we're not supposed to endorse any single one until after the primaries. Okay. But if, for example, of the 2 candidates that are running, one of them we know for a fact is corrupt, or we know for a fact is, doing something that they shouldn't be doing, or supports a policy that we're not in agreement with, then we will support and endorse the other candidate.
Oh, that's really good that you said that. Yeah. So another question I have is, I've noticed that some Republicans they're not like, they're divided. Yes. There's the MAGAs, there's the Republicans, there's Miami Republicans, there's Christian Republicans. Yeah. Now I see they're a little bit trying to get closer. Why is it so many separation?
That's a really loaded question, and it's difficult to explain because I feel like people sometimes they just follow the crowd. Sometimes they are, people want to identify with something specific, and I think that if they're like a diehard Trump Republican, then they identify as a MAGA Republican. Yeah. And if they're a Christian, but they're also Republican. And of course, they're always going to go with the Christian Republican crowd because maybe their values and their morals align a little bit better. I think that all in all, we should not have any division, that we should all be united.
Right.
But again, it's sometimes lack of knowledge, sometimes ignorance, sometimes people just follow the crowd, or sometimes they just, hear something and they don't do more research about it, and then they just cling on to whatever they're hearing.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I was like, it's like, who's the cool crowd? The popular crowd.
I've never been a clique type of
me
girl.
too. I'm like kind of person. I talk to everybody. Exactly. Like, I talk to a wall. But I've noticed, and I noticed last week when I went to the event, that everybody was like separate. Everybody had their own little cliques. But it happens too with politicians. You see the Sweetwater clique. You see the Hialeah.
Yeah.
There's always one that talks to everybody, but there's different cliques, and they all support each other. Yeah. And I was like, man, I wish they could all like be together and everybody support each other.
Yeah.
So, what is the future for you?
Great question. So, as far as work goes with the business, I'm just looking to continue to expand. I'm looking to leave the business running with people that I trust. Like my brother, my youngest brother he's my director of operations.
Oh, yeah.
So he does a lot of the work. Really what I would like to do is just leave the businesses running, oversee when necessary. I personally would like to go to law school, get my law degree, and just start practicing law. My heart is criminal defense because I do believe, and based off of the research that I've done statistically and all of that, there's a lot of people that are wrongfully accused. There's a lot of people that end up with sentences just because they didn't have proper representation or they didn't have finances. And so my heart is to be able to help those people, even if I have to do it pro bono. Hence why I want the businesses to be successful, run on their own, so that I can continue to provide, but I don't have to charge my clients if they don't have the funds for it. I also obviously eventually plan on running for something. We'll see. Politically, let's see what that would be. But yes, I want to run for something. Obviously here in West Kendall, because that's my hometown.
You're from West Kendall too?
Yes. yes. Basically, I wasn't born in it, but I was basically raised in it.
Yeah, so, the same thing as me. I was born in Hialeah, and then we've been in West Kendall ever since.
Yeah. That, and then, I don't know, hopefully find a husband.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
I'm in the mission too, looking for a husband. But with a good heart, and let's see what God puts us in our plans, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. We had a great time. We laughed a lot, so thank you so much.
Of course, thank
Ritita. Hey. Bienvenidos a Mercedes Corner.